So, Ron, super sensitive question, a
Mm,
delicate question, but we have some couples on Loveology that have lost a child.
mm.
And you and Nan have been through that 12 years ago. You lost a son. And boy, I remember that when that happened for you guys. And it's so devastating. What can you do? And I ask this very tenderly, but what advice or what wisdom, what words do you have for the couple that's watching this,
Mm.
that's in the same situation, and it's fresh for them, perhaps, or maybe it's been years, like a dozen years, like it has been for you. Speak to that a little bit, would you?
Yeah, of course, this subject is deep and wide, and it is very near and dear to my heart because of our own loss. Connor was 12. He got sick, had a headache, and 10 days later, he was gone. It radically changes your life. It's like walking in mud up to your eyeballs. You're not walking, you're not moving. The initial impact is you're just stuck, you're just frozen. Eventually, it becomes something where the mud is at your shoulders, mud's at your waist. You're sort of doing life, but you don't quite feel the same. You're moving at a different pace. It's very consuming in terms of your emotional energy and your mental energy. And all of that impacts your relationship. You're parenting with other kids. My wife and I joke about the 2 years we lost with our other two boys. We've kind of gotten to the point with them where we can all sort of laugh about it. But to me, it's not really funny because I just sort of disappeared for my other two boys who were struggling on their own with their own grief journey.
Yeah.
It's a marathon. There is no recovery. When counselors and pastors use the word recovery as it relates to grief of this magnitude, I'm quick to jump in and say, hey, no recovery, right? Life is forever changed. We're learning to walk with it and carry it. That's what we're going to do. In fact, that's one of the things that I would offer viewers right now is your life is on a train from this point till the end of your life. There are two rails on that train's right on. One of them, the right rail, is just deep sadness, and the left rail is perhaps positive memories about the person, the child that you lost. That right rail is, oh my goodness, I miss them today. I think about them all the time. I wish somebody would just say their name out loud so I could talk about that child. And the left rail is, I believe I'm going to see him again someday. For me as a person of faith, that's something I very much hold on to. So the right rail is joy or bitterness, and the left rail is joy and sorrow. It's all jumbled together, but those two things, pain
Yeah.
and sorrow and joy, kind of go side by side. And my job on this train is to just keep going and to reposition my child and carry them with me as best I can. Now, how I did that and how Nan did that was a little bit different. And part of what we had to do is learn how to give each other some grace space about where the other was and when they were sad and when they wanted to talk and didn't want to talk. And we started to learn one another's rhythms. And when I was up, she was down. When I was down, she was up. And thank God for that, because if we're both down, that's a mess. But repositioning is about saying, all right, Connor's still with us. How do I make him a part of my day, my life, my journey, my marriage, our family? And for us, that means we talk a lot about him. We bring him up, at special family holidays and significant moments when people are gathered. We make sure we bring him. We, in conversation, in story, he's there. We grieve together. We cry together. That's how we bring him with us.
Yeah.
I think that's really, really important. And one other thought about for couples, sometimes one of you is a talker about your grief and the other one's not. The other one's more of a quiet internal processor. Reach for each other in the midst of your sadness and grief. Don't divert so far that you lose connection with one another. When Nan and I started in the beginning, we tell people we just happen to grieve the same. And we would say for 3 or 4 years, we were very much in the same spot. But then it started to change. I started kind of moving on in different ways, in ways that she wasn't quite ready to. I started listening to music that I shared with Connor, and she couldn't do that. Just those little things meant we were now sort of not together on it, and we had to actively keep coming back, making it a point to say we're not going to allow this thing to push us in opposite directions. I think you have to be very intentional about that.
Mm, that's so good, so wise. And I know we'll be talking more about that here at Loveology, but for that couple that's going through that loss, that is such a good and helpful word. Thank you
Yeah.
so much, man.
If I could offer one more thought, don't
Yeah,
do this alone. Find some
yeah,
help. And I got a couple of suggestions. There's a secular organization called Compassionate Friends that's all about helping parents who have lost a child. That's a specific grief that they work with. And there is a ministry for those who have a Christian faith that my wife and I have been benefited from and now are part of in terms of providing some care to others, called While We're Waiting. And it brings a faith approach to looking at this. The point is, you need some community. And our rescue has been other couples who are a little ahead of us and some are a little behind us. We get you.
right.
And honestly, other people just don't. They just can't. And they can help, but the most help you're going to get is going to come from a community of people who have been there and are doing that.
Yeah,
So seek that out.
yeah. And that can be hard to do in the midst of heartache because
Yep.
nobody else can really understand that is the feeling. But that's a good word. Thanks, Ron.